If you have said to yourself, I should write that, or if someone has said to you, you should write that, then I'm talking to you because you need to write. And that's why you're tuned in to yWrite. Hi, welcome to yWrite. I'm your host, Angela Grout, and I'm so pleased that you turned into this episode. You know, every episode we talk about why writers are writing, and we're trying to explore avenues of how you can start writing your story, whatever that story is. Today, we are not only going to talk about why someone's written a book, but we're going to talk about why write books to help other people. My guest today is Mary-Anne Schelb, and she has developed workbooks, and she's been an author of guided journals, and we're going to talk about how she created these books. Her passion is to inspire healing and journaling with a guide, and it can be really helpful. She's a healing practitioner, and she strives to restore harmony to the mind, body, and spirit. Isn't that something we're all striving for? She is the owner of Intentional Calm Holistic Consulting and the author of three guiding journals. All of them, her practice and these books offer her clients and those who read them the gift of balance and transformation. And today, as a writer myself and sometimes filled with anxiety and needing to calm down, this is like one of those shows I'm very looking forward to. Mary-Anne is also the Regional Director of Business Development in Western Mass and Connecticut for the JGS Life Care. And we're going to talk to her a little bit about that because all of it ties into how we treat ourselves in our life. So I want to welcome to the show Mary-Anne Schelb.
Hi. Thank you. Hi. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. This has been in the making for me to meet you for years.
Right.
And I remember this past spring I happened to be at a health fair, a women's conference, and I saw your books at the table. I saw your name, and you weren't at the table time. And I'm like, this woman, her name keeps passing my desk. I need to meet her. And you came over, and I'm like, Mary-Anne, I'm nice. Angela. We need to talk. And I had looked at your journals, and it's so inspiring. You have a very peaceful calm about you, which is so nice.
Thank you.
And I want to know, you started your practice, Intentional Calm Holistic Consulting. How long have you been doing this?
So I started in business in 1999. I probably started with holistic health in 1996, but literally the business itself is 1999.
And what does the business do? What do you offer?
So I think I was put on earth to help people. I really like helping people, and I want to bring them a level of peace and calm that they might be missing. And I think a lot of people are missing it, especially now.
Yeah. And coming to see you through your practice or doing one of your books definitely has it's an inner journey.
We call it from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So people, like the stressors are on the outside of the body, right? So energetically it hits us first on the outside. And then if we can somehow process it and manage it from on the outside, it doesn't actually set on the inside. And holistic health practitioners say that our body is in dis-ease. So we hyphenate the word disease.
Yes.
So energetically, we want to, kind of keep the stress and anxiety and frustration and anger at bay.
Yeah. So as a writer, I'm bringing my own personal experience, and as a writer, there is so much anxiety, there is so much dis-ease in the not always in the writing process, but definitely in the sharing process, the publishing process, the putting your word out for the world to see.
Yes,
and that stress and anxiety definitely can kind of put a hold on you. So how do you recommend for people who are going through that to get over it?
Well, don't take the 10 years that it took me. Because
wait, you're telling me you had stress and anxiety over writing these workbooks.
I know. Is that bad? Yeah. But
I'm going to write a workbook so that you don't have stress, but I'm going to be really stressed about writing it. I love it. It's so human.
I think that, ultimately I put the journals in place for me, right? Mm-hmm. So anybody that walks into holistic health, usually it's for themselves first. They're experiencing something, they're going through something, there's a challenge, whatever. And I did it for myself first. I mean, I wrote the books. I mean, I love Louise Hay.
Yeah.
So Louise Hay is, I mean, the ultimate Heal Your Life, the workbook. I've got every variation of her workbook, every variation of her book. They're colorful. That is really the inspiration.
I love her. Wayne Dyer, all the Hay House publications.
Yes.
I used to think, I want to
Yes.
be published through Hay House, but
Yes.
I don't write that. I just read it.
Yes.
'Cause I do like reading
Yes.
self-helps and things like that because it does help.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I think she was the guiding force behind it, but ultimately I needed it for myself first. I was going through something where I needed it for me. So I developed it and, one of them, and then I kind of printed it. I just have one printer that does all my printing. It's like, can you just print like one or two? And he did, and I would use it. And then it's like, no, I don't like this, I don't like that. So I would edit it. So it was really like a trial and error for me personally. And I used that for a little while. And then when I finally got to the point where it's like, I want to release this, I want to help. Some of my clients were asking, and I said, let me fine tune it first. And then I put a few finishing touches on it. And then, it just happened.
Well, and for people who do like to journalize, it is important. For me, I like things a certain way. And I can see what you're saying, like you're developing it for yourself, because for many years, literally had like 3 or 4 journals going because I tried to keep all my lives separate.
Yeah.
Like your work journal. Yeah. This is what happened today. Your kid journal. My writing journal. My personal journal.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, I'm writing 4 different journals every night, and I wanted to combine them. And I took a journal class at the Agawam Library, and talked about creating your own journal.
Yes.
And it was just, it's hard, Then I see something like this that you've written, and what's so great is I want to get, I don't know, they're all really good. I want to get like this one first, only because like you're tracking your mood, you're tracking the things you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And it really is. You could say, I'm grateful that I got this job done at work today. I'm grateful that my kids did this. And kind of making all of them one.
Of course.
Because I tried to separate all my lives, and now I'm like, I can't.
Right. So, we are human beings that have jobs, that have kids. There's times when you could separate, if you've got 2 different, I've got a Connecticut office and a Massachusetts office. I do have separate notebooks for that, right? So you have to think sometimes there's a time, a place. For your life in general, you need to really put everything in one place. You don't, so otherwise you're compartmentalizing and everything's in a silo. And you want to actually, in case there's stress in this silo, if you're separating it, you're not going to know that this is where the stress is coming from.
100. As soon as you said, I'm like, it's so true, because it's like I could be, at my flower shop stressed out about something, but realizing it's coming from, the kid journal, or it's coming from the fact that.
So if you're separating it.
And I'm like, it's all one. So being able to track, your moods, your water intake, whatever, these things are. And because of the way you've designed these, I think it's great that you're not saying you have to write a journal for 6 hours. You don't have to do 10 pages. These aren't your morning pages. This is.
Right.
I want to use the word vomit right now. Vomit onto the page, get it out.
Yes.
In the wholest form, and then work.
Absolutely. And each of them are 30 days. So you're taking, just 30 days, because it takes 30 days to make a habit, right? So you want to do something, and the meditation and the daily journal are very repetitive, because it's really just, I want somebody to form a habit.
Yeah.
And it's simple, because it actually talks about, what's, the goals and intentions, your reflections, and what you accomplished. And then space for creativity, because I'm big on creativity. I really think that just expressing yourself is just important. On the 30-day journal, it's a little bit different, because then, we kind of have 10-day check-ins. And it's like, all right, what's working, what's not working? I really want you to figure out, because sometimes you're going maybe down a path that, after 10 days, it's like, all right, does this feel good? Does this not feel good? I'm not sure. Maybe I need to pivot and shift just a little bit. You could be going through a big transition. It could be something where, you've got a good family life, you've got a good job, your kids are great, but you're just feeling a little off. And what is causing that off? So this, when you're asking like simple little questions, it's gonna tell you where that's coming from.
Yeah, and for people who don't have a therapist, this book can be your therapist.
Right.
So, okay, I know that you wrote it for yourself.
Yeah.
And now you're sharing it. I love the spiral bound. Like, I want to get into the nitty-gritty of the books because this is the kind of book that needs a spiral bound.
Yes.
It really
you need to lay it flat.
You have to lay it flat.
Yes.
And, when I'm shopping for, like, whether it's a date book or, like, the spiral bound really helps.
First one wasn't spiral bound. And then it was like, oh, I don't like this.
Yes, you're bending it, there's a little hump and things like that.
Exactly.
The only thing I get worried about with spiral bounds is ripping pages out.
I know, but
I
that's
have
okay.
anxiety over it, but you can.
And that's okay, because if by chance, I tell people, if, on the note page, sometimes I started journaling very early on during a bad divorce. And, you write down, I think some people have good divorces. I don't know what that's like. So there was some anger, right? There was some anger where I wrote down and I didn't want to keep it. So I ripped it out. To transmute it from negative to positive, I burned those pages. Sometimes it's okay to remove some pages.
She makes me feel normal. Yes, burn the pages, burn them.
Yes, safely, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I mean, I'll just when I was writing the murder mystery, there were some pages that I wrote that I was like, I don't like this. It's making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Put it aside, and then I'm like, nope. I shred it up, and then I'm outside burning it. My kids are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm sending it to the heavens. It's gone.
That's right.
It's gone. If it needs to come back, it can come.
Yep.
But it's going in this form because I don't want that. And the same thing, like writing, letters to, ex-husbands to be or something like, okay, do we really want them to find them?
Right,
no,
no,
we're just going to let it go, release it. And
exactly.
It's a really great way to process.
Yes, it is. You want to transmute. Energy is energy. The water we drink, the air we breathe, everything has a vibration to it, including the words that we're putting on paper. That's why journaling is so important. It makes things real. It makes them real. It points them out. It makes it very poignant for you. And if there's something negative, you want to be able to transmute that from negative to positive.
Yeah, and journal writing is very important because it really is that raw. I mean, you're not always, being very careful with the words that you pick. It's just raw coming out. And because it's journal, it's like, for me, I think sometimes it's like being in school when you're writing in pencil. It doesn't count.
Right.
Because then, especially writing fictional stories and things, taking that to, play with and, spice it up and move it around and things like that is helpful. I kept a journal similar to this many years ago before you did this for my children, being pregnant, the pregnancy journals.
Oh, yes.
And this reminds me a little bit of that because, you are writing, in the pregnancy journals, each day how you're feeling, what your weight is, what your goal is. I'm going to have more water today or, things like that. But then also writing the internal of what you're feeling at that time. And it's such a great way to go back and reflect.
Absolutely.
I mean, if it wasn't for those journals, I wouldn't have written Dear Baby, Get Out because I went back and, I was able to reread it to see where I was at that point.
Sure.
And doing 30 days at a time, I mean, you do all 30 days and burn the journal if you want, but, to go back 6 months later and look at it.
Right. You're not burning them all. I mean, you're also saying what you're grateful for. So a lot of this is going to be positive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how did you get it printed? How did you get this published? How did you describe to the publisher, like, the size that you wanted? And you have beautiful, just peaceful coloring.
I know. So I did all of the design myself. Okay. And I wanted to bring, again, I had that Louise Hay, feel inside. So I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted it to be fun just to hold it. Yeah. I wanted it to be fun just to touch it. And it's that
very feminine.
And that would give it, right. And actually I was told that by some of my male clients.
Yeah.
That I would have to bring a little bit more masculinity. So that is in the works, as well as a grief series.
Yeah, I mean, you can still have this, but you might want a fishing pole or a deer.
Or just a mountain scene. Yeah, I've already got some designs a little bit different. But I think that ultimately what I did is once I designed it, I just have a local printer that I just had do some rough drafts. But then when I wanted to print, a higher quantity, I just actually downloaded it into a PDF.
Okay.
And I just made sure it was the size, and you could actually adjust the size. And then I sent it to them complete.
So you had all the format done.
Everything.
and you pick the size, which I love. It's actually a similar size. This is the size book I like.
Pocketbook. I want to be able to throw it in a bag and bring it with you.
Which again, I'm going to go back to your spiral binding because it's a thick plastic.
Yes.
And for people who like spiral bound, sometimes you can kind of get angry at them because they get caught, and you have to have the perfect.
Yes, I know. It was a trial and error for sure. Yeah.
So. So once you had the first one done, you just kind of had the prototype for how you want the next ones to do.
I did. I made a couple, I wouldn't say mistakes, but trial runs. And then it was like, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. Some of them were a little bit bigger. Some of them were smaller, didn't like the smaller. So I came to the size. And then I wanted to make sure it was a good binding, and I wanted it to lay flat. The spiral was important to me because those are the journals that I liked as well.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the background. So the artwork, where did you get that? Is that online?
Everything, yeah. So, So what I did...
know if you painted it yourself.
I did not paint anything myself. However, I do have some artwork that I could potentially use and some photographs because I love phonography, really, not photography. So
I never heard that. Yeah,
so I'm just really a phone buff, but I do love taking pictures. So I may... The next one... the one that has a little bit more of a male vibe for it could be some of my own photos as well. But it's just, there's programs that you could buy. There's programs that you could buy, editing programs that you could, pull off of.
Nice. So in addition to this, I know on your website you have where people can sign up to get a weekly meditation. And so, talking about writing, I mean, you've developed and wrote, I mean, even though we're writing in this, but, you wrote out the outline for people to fill out the journal. Doing this the weekly meditation that comes through the email, you're sitting down, pen and paper, to write this.
Yes. So every week. And it could be the inspiration for that. I want to give someone a weekly inspiration, something to look back at. So when they do the 30 days, they're like, what's next? And I say, go back and look at the blog, because I literally gave a 12-week course, and you could go and you could look at 12 weeks, and it gives you what to do 12 weeks. The last one that I did, we talked about the brain-gut, connection, gut health, which is important. Yeah. The next one, which you get a sneak peek at, is going to be about sleep and how important sleep is. And all of us are exhausted. Every single person I talk to is exhausted.
I'm exhausted. So I like my naps every day. I don't know if it's because I'm over 50 or, I mean, my parents, I remember they'd all go take a nap, and I'm like, you're going to take a nap in the middle of the day? And now I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Sleep is very important, and it's really the downtime our body needs to regenerate. And I'm going to tell people in this little inspiration how important it is, and some tools. Every single weekly inspiration has a takeaway to it. Sometimes it's a downloadable. If I get inspired and have a little bit of time, there's a downloadable. And sometimes it's just like a couple of 3 steps at the end.
How do you have time to do all this? You're working full time.
I do.
For 2 offices that cover Western Mass and Connecticut, not like it just covers, little places, because, you have to really have a lot of time on your hands to do this.
Some people play golf.
Yep.
I inspire.
Okay.
So it's a hobby gone awry, I call it. And I love it. So it's real life. So it's me talking to friends about how tired we are, going, I make a couple notes on my phone, and then anywhere I am, I could be on vacation. When I go, coming up, I'm going to be still publishing.
Yeah.
So, but it's something I do for myself. I like quiet time to write, to journal. Sometimes when I'm journaling, it's ideas for the next inspiration, but it's still inspiring for me as I'm writing it.
Now, when you're writing your meditation, I'm going to pretend you're writing it on Saturdays to publish on Sundays or whatever. Do you have an editor?
No,
you're self-edit.
It's just me. So if you find any mistakes, don't be too hard on me.
But how are you critical with yourself? How do you handle that? The mean girl in there that's saying, "Yeah, you're really going to put this out there."
I'll have my husband read it. Okay. Sometimes I'll have my husband read it and say, "What do you think?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because we can sit down and write something that seems brilliant.
Yeah.
And we walk away, and we have that euphoria of that felt so good to write and get out, and then you have to go back to read it later and then edit it, and then the anxiety comes in. So now I have to find someone like you to say, give me a meditation so that I don't have this anxiety.
But you know how a creative mind works. Sometimes you'll be in a creative mood and I will write 2 or 3.
Yes.
So I actually last weekend had a little bit more time, and it's a 3-part series.
Okay.
So it's the gut health, and then it's going to be about sleep maxing, and then it's going to be the combination of
I
both.
can't wait for sleep maxing.
So it was a little mini series. So sometimes when you, and like the 12-week series came to me all at once. So it's like, then you make a little outline for each, and then you like elaborate on it a little bit, and you just kind of, in the morning I grab a cup of tea. Sometimes I'll just sit at my computer and.
Nice. Yeah. So you do have kind of a ritual of writing, but you'll binge write too.
Yes. If I can't sleep at night, right? Talk about sleep maxing. I get up because in the wee hours of the morning are when I'm most creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like it when I can kind of roll out of bed right onto my chair.
Yes.
And just start writing from there.
Yes.
And of course, in the middle of the night, which I always, when I say it, I have my song in my head. I wrote a song called In the Middle of the Night, and I'm doing a play.
Oh, fun.
And it is about like a writer waking up in the middle of the night where all of a sudden, you have to purge these words onto the page.
Yes.
And it's fascinating to me because, once they're purged on the page, I can go back to sleep like instantly. And then I wake up in the morning and I read it, and I'm so grateful that I wrote it down, because sometimes I didn't, I don't always remember those details, whether it's a dream or the inspiration or the thought. And, that's the powerful part about being able to be creative, to be intuitive, and to put it on the page.
Yes.
Because like you said, it becomes real.
Yes.
And so many people don't, and not to make anyone feel guilty, but some people don't follow through with that.
Correct.
And my thing is, I'm always grateful for the doctor who created heart stents, because I literally think he probably laid in his bed one night and was like, wonder if you put like a staple or a balloon in someone's heart, like some crazy thought, like
it starts as an idea.
You're like, what? You share it with a friend, they're like, what do you want to do? That sounds awful.
Right.
And then the follow through with it.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're waking up in the middle of the night, or whenever, and you're writing that inspiration down, and then the follow through with it, because you could simply have made your journal for yourself, but realize to follow through, because it can help people. And with your counseling service, it's got to be super helpful.
Yes, a lot of people, like, they'll ask, what can I do? And I'll mention, I don't try to upsell people though, when they're paying for counseling. It's, if they want to write it down, I tell them that I've got journals. Sometimes I'll recommend, like the 30-day, it's more like a 30-day challenge. If somebody really wants to move, and process through, the 30-day to intentionally calm is a great way to do it.
Nice. Do they bring the journals back to you?
They bring the journals back to me when, or if it's a Zoom, they'll show me or read me what they wrote, because then we process through it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's a awesome thing for counselors, to be able to help somebody, because sometimes you can feel, a little more comfortable putting on a page, but then to talk about it out loud, it's not as comfortable.
Right.
So you've been doing the intentional calm, holistic counseling, life coaching, guiding people in person, on the page, but you also work for the JCS. So can you tell us a little bit about that, because it definitely ties in who you are.
Yes, I love elder care. I remember I had my wellness center years ago, and it was great when my kids were little, because I would, you bring them to school, then I could drop them off and still have clients. And I think that when I was looking, once my kids were old enough and I wanted to go back to a regular job, my husband's like, just get like a marketing job somewhere. And it was in an assisted living, a friend of mine. And I realized, because I was already doing Reiki at senior centers like this, and I loved working with the elderly, because they always have a story to tell.
I love it. I do hospice companion care. I love it.
So they always have a story to tell, and I could sit down, and they just want to be like listened to.
And it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. So I realized that I do really enjoy elder care. JGS Life Care is a 23-acre campus of care right in Long Meadow that offers soup to nuts, everything from independent living, assisted, to state-of-the-art rehabs, VNA, hospice, an adult day health, and a long-term care. So I was put on earth to help people, apparently.
Yeah, and
so I do almost like a geriatric care management, and I help people navigate the elder care process, because it's just, so when JGS is paying me, right, my salary, and somebody comes to me that needs help, they're getting almost like holistic consulting 100%. For free.
Yeah,
for free.
No, 100%.
But I like doing it.
And going in, becoming a geriatric comes quickly.
Yes.
And I think a lot of, people who enter that, they're not prepared for it. and then their children aren't equipped with it. So, I mean, my parents are entering, that geriatric world.
Yes.
So, just finding out, like, getting new geriatric doctors and having someone like you to help facilitate some of that and introduce it in a calm, not in a panicky way is really great. And, with that, I mean, of course, you're also talking about end-of-life care.
Correct.
I mean, end-of-life could be at any time for anyone, but once you enter the, geriatrics,
Sure.
You do want to help to be able to prepare for that. And I think that's something, that's, I think, why I love it, because I have a belief in the afterlife, things like that. So I want to help people feel comfortable knowing where they're going. But, with being able to just let people be comfortable in the moment that they're in and share the stories of the past and still look forward to something for tomorrow. I mean, that's everything that encompasses you.
Sure. Yeah, I love doing both. It's really, people ask me, don't you get tired? And it's like, of course I get tired, but I love doing both. So it's, what do they say? Love what you do and you never work a day in your life.
Yeah,
so.
100%. And that's always been my goal too.
Yeah.
And then they say, like, work like you don't need the money, but you realize you do need the money. Dance like no one's watching. People really do watch, but
do.
You got to live life like, it is your last day every day and just enjoy it. So.
Sure.
These journals, where can everyone find the journals if they want to get them for themselves, and how do they get in touch with you if they want to work with you as a consultant, life coach, or go to your practice, things like that?
Sure. So www.intentionalcalm.com. And you can dial 413-250-0455, and it's intentionallycalm@gmail.com. And there's a boutique on the website. You'll see it, and you'll be able to go to the journals. You'll be able to look at that.
I love that you called it a boutique, too. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that's so nice. Not like the bookstore.
Yeah.
It is.
Because there's other items there, too, so.
Yeah, it's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is the time of the show where I give my audience a writing prompt. But today, I we talked about this before the show.
We did.
I thought, for the writing prompt for writers, sometimes we need to have a prompt that doesn't necessarily involve a pen, because we want to get rid of the anxieties and things like that. And you do meditations, and you're a Reiki healer, and offer these. So do you think you can give us a little meditation prompt?
Sure. Meditation.
Or at least give me one so I can get rid of my anxiety.
Meditation doesn't have to be an hour long. Sometimes just simple breaths. So I tell people all the time. And actually, sit with your legs flat. Yep, you can't cross, so it doesn't interfere with the energy.
I was just about to cross
you
my ankles. You saw that? Like, just naturally.
Yep.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you want to just take 3 deep breaths, and when you're breathing in, I want you to think of breathing in peace and calm, and when you're breathing out, I want you to breathe out stress and anxiety. So simple breaths.
Okay.
Perfect. And another one. And feel it. And then if there's any stress that you feel, or even pain or discomfort maybe in your shoulder, try to wrap the breath around it and then just kind of blow it, sometimes audibly, out. Makes it a little bit more real. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Picture yourself at the beach. You could hear the seagulls in the background. You could hear the ocean waves. Maybe the waves hit your feet. Just simple breaths in and out. They can lower your blood pressure.
I was just feeling like
it could lower your heart rate.
I'm feeling slow, calmer, slower.
Yeah.
Because I, of course, right away wanted to be a little silly and be like,
I know.
and it is so true when we take that just slow breath in.
Sure.
And I mean, it was 3,
Yeah.
and it's like, maybe, before we start writing or before we step out on that stage where we're going to start talking about our book, just, and don't feel the tidal wave coming, just feel the feet and getting lapped by the ocean.
Of course.
Yeah, so, I hope everyone today takes that away, just to take 3 deep breaths. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is Mary-Anne Schelb, and I want to thank you, the listening audience, for tuning in, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, or on your local cable access channel. I appreciate that you watch this show every week, and I certainly hope that, you'll be inspired to go out and, get a journal, start your 30 days of just finding out a little bit more about you, and if you're looking to, write your own memoir. This is going to be a great start. If you're looking to write the great American best-selling fiction book, I think you definitely need to do a little meditation and take in 3 deep breaths and let them out very slowly. So this has been another episode of yWrite. Thank you to Studio 954 for letting me do this show, and thank you so much for subscribing and sharing with your friends. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.